Welcome to the So Mom podcast. This is your cozy corner to unwind and join thoughtful conversations and often meet some very special guests.
Except today, aggressive conversation.
Oh, is that right? But even more special guests today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
special guest today.
Yep.
I've been having my warm cup of coffee with eggnog.
And not just any eggnog.
No, with the little foamer you got me.
Yeah.
I think of it as like easy bake oven for middle-aged people. And I pour in concoctions.
Yeah.
And I'm like nutmeg, cinnamon, eggnog, half and half, chocolate chips. And then I make a whole thing. I make a coffee delightful thing.
So
Sometimes
it's dessert.
It's a coffee dessert that I
Yeah.
start my day with. I don't start it with So Mom, but I start it with that.
Well, that's cozy
It's cozy.
and kind of.
It's kind of 12-year-old, but
Yeah,
you were the one who gave me the foamer.
I know,
So-
because I love my foamer.
It's so good.
I
You
know.
make so much coffee though.
So this past week, I went to New York.
I know.
But
You went alone
I went alone, and that's what I really want to say, how exciting it was to be in New York.
without your daughter.
No. No, I
I
love
make New York fun for you.
it. You do.
Right.
You make New York fun, but I made it an adventure.
Oh, ow.
Because I'm alone, and I had to figure things out.
What were you doing so adventurous?
Well, I walked to all my different meetings.
Okay, you took meetings.
I took meetings. I took a lot of meetings.
Mhm.
Actually, I went to the Frank and Eileen store opening on Madison, and it was so much fun. I walked there by
On
myself.
Madison?
Yeah, I was staying on Madison, so I was like a little mole walking.
You're like breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went, and it was really fun. It's a great store, and there were all these young people selling the things. And then they had free candy.
Oh, did you burrow back in the corner for the free candy like a hedgehog?
I just pretended, and I said, "What? This is free?"
Stuff
And
in your
I had a
pocket.
little more. Yeah.
Aluminum foil in you.
I
I saw you had a really cute taxi cab shirt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought this cute little casual shirt, and then
Mhm.
I bought a sweater not to go with it because I never can think to have things.
Did you have
actually
someone
go.
helping you? I hope.
Yes, I did. I actually had two people.
Never go rogue.
No, I didn't go rogue.
Maurene Goo is the author of several acclaimed and award-winning books for young adults, including I Believe in a Thing Called Love and Throwback, which was a Reese Book Club YA winter pick. Several of her young adult novels are in development for film, and her books have been translated into 12 languages. She writes for screen, games, and comics. She lives in Los Angeles with her husband, son, and 2 cats. One and Only is her adult novel.
Yay!
Yay!
Adult debut novel. There it is.
It is so well, I understand that your reader copy has a long wait list for all your friends. And I was able to jump the line because of the podcast. And when I brought the book home, John said, You're going to read that over the weekend? And I said, yes, I have to get it back to Adele. And I started it, Maureen, and I could not put it down. And I said, as soon as I finished it, it was like 24 hours later. And I said to John, I just finished it. He said, you read that whole book? And I said, honestly, I did. I loved it. I just loved it. It was so wonderful. It was just absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that was so touching to me is that as a Los Angeles transplant, I love reading books where I see a little snippet of something or something else I recognize. But this was like an homage to Los Angeles too. And I thought, I've been there, I've done that, I've gone there. And it felt it just added a whole other layer of warmth and wonderfulness.
Oh, that's the highest compliment when people can't put the book down. So I am very, very flattered. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I said to mom, "You won't be able to put it down." It was so I have a little phrase on my phone. I'll show it to you when I see you next. It's all the phrases that I love the most because I
Ugh.
felt like I don't wanna I could because it's the copy that is everybody is getting, so I couldn't
Oh,
do my usual where I fold pages, so I put all of the phrases. There's so many. It's such a beautiful story, and then there's so many delicious jokes and phrases, and I just it was like, I have to make, I guess, a little fan page of all my favorite phrases, but then
oh
I'll
my
show you,
God.
and then you'll think it's probably a little stalkery.
No, hello. You're an author. We love it.
I
We
love
love
it.
that
I
love.
love her voice so
Yeah, I
much.
do
Oh,
too.
Yeah, and
thanks.
mom and I were looking at cassia trees. Looking
Oh, yeah. The
And then I realized, I didn't pick it up from the cover, but as soon as I saw them, I thought, "Oh my god, they're all over my neighborhood. They're
oh,
everywhere." It's a ubiquitous tree.
yeah, it's really gorgeous. It's native. I'm pretty sure it's native. It took me so long to figure out her name because I wanted it to be named after a plant that her mom loved, but it also had to be, nothing like really obvious, like peony, which, a peony is easy to spot, and plus it's not a California flower. So it was really hard for me to figure out like what's a plant that would be kind of low key, like that Cass wouldn't know the actual name of. She would just think it's that yellow flowery plant.
Yeah.
And then it's a name, that I like. We had all these other names that were like, nothing was sticking, but then that one, everybody was like, ooh, that sticks. So, yeah, that plant is very pretty, actually. It's very,
It's a name.
Yeah, it's a
I
really
think
pretty
there will
name.
be a lot of babies named that after your book
oh my
comes its
gosh,
release.
I would be honored.
I wish I had named you that.
Cassia, I would have
Yeah,
been really happy
I
for
know
that
you
name.
would. Too too late.
Too late now. And, a lot of the book is it's so many things, but one of the things that really feels like it is grounded in place as you can tell that you know LA. I mean, it's such an LA book, and you grew up in LA,
Did.
and so it has that feeling of, I know these roads, I know these places, and I loved as because I am also a transplant, I thought, I also know a little bit of what's going on here.
Yeah, I obviously love LA. I'm from here, and I do feel like it doesn't really get the treatment that, like New York gets in literature. So I think more people have been writing about LA, and obviously, like I even have a book about the Dodgers, like right here and Chavez Ravine. But I just felt like it's such an easy for me. It's so easy to write about, and it's so easy to make it a character. And if it's my first adult, not my first adult novel, it's like for sure I'm going to set it in LA because it's just like so comfortable for me to. And then I really love when even romances or women's fiction really get into the details of setting. So I feel like a lot of times contemporary authors don't do that because we're not focused on world building as much, but I really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of LA, but also just my whole thing in life is to tell people like this is the best city and here is why. And if you hate it, I am sorry for you. Uh, you just don't know. You have not been navigated through the city well. So yeah, and Larchmont and where you, Adele, the house that the grandparents live in is very much inspired by
I was
your
wondering.
your first
I
book.
was wondering. I was like,
It's like Spanish style because I didn't want to make it
"Yep."
too obvious, but I'm like, it is literally like it would be your old next door neighbor.
In my head, that's where I went. I was like, all the characters were talking and walking around in that house.
Right?
So,
Terrace?
yeah, I mean, it was exactly
The
so fun.
the funny thing is I had the same feeling
Yeah, it's so
because I knew
specific.
they wouldn't be living next to me, but I thought they might have been living next
Yeah,
to
they're living next to Adele.
They were next to me adjacent because
Yes,
I live in
yes.
Hancock Park.
You might
Yeah,
have bumped into them
I
at a
felt it.
few
I think
spots.
I've passed them walking our dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is the question I really have to ask because this I have a real curiosity about that move from YA to adult
Yes.
and what in that specific it's such a specific jump
Mm.
and what surprised you, delighted you, frustrated you. Just I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yes, I mean, you have done it yourself, so you know. Um, I I just felt like it was time. And I have been reading since 2020, I've been reading so much romance and romance adjacent women's fic, market, whatever you call this, whatever one and only is, what space one and only is in. I've been reading so many books like that because I just don't want to be upset by what I'm reading anymore. And I will still like pick a challenging book or two for the year and be like, I still have to grow as a human, so you should also read things that are hard. But for the most part, reading will always be a source of joy and comfort and escape for me. And so that's the kind of book I love to write. And while I've been living in this space, I realize like um I feel like with YA, you can do that, obviously, and my books I do think are fun in YA, but YA has a little more pressure to, you're reaching children or teens, and I kind of wanted to take that pressure off and be like, I just want to write the book that I would want to read, and that my friends would want to read. And then, Sarah Mlynowski, our friend, one Wednesday was like, I'm so sick of reading rom-coms about 20-year-olds. I don't care about them. I don't care about 30-year-olds either. And I said, interesting, because initially my adult debut was going to be about like somebody that was in her early 30s. It just seems like the age that you're supposed to write about. But I thought, what's more interesting to me is s- witnessing so many of my girlfriends turn 40 or and they're still looking for love or wondering if they should have kids. It's a little like, delayed compared to all the stuff we've been reading since we've been, teens, which is like your dating happens in your 20s and then you get married in your 30s, or you're a sad spinster in your early 30s and you're desperate for love. And so I just felt like what's a more modern equivalent to these kind of books that we have read forever? And for me, it's somebody turning 40 and looking down at we still have the option to have children if we want. We can do it alone, we can do it with a partner. It's just different now. And you can be really content while you're still having those questions. You can still have your life together. You are a fully realized person, but you still have these pieces missing, or decisions to make. So I thought that was a really interesting kind of precipice to write about, even though I personally have not been through that exact scenario. But, I had my kid when I was 39. So it was also kind of on my mind, like what it means to be 40 and still consider having children. And also not be depressed or scared of being middle aged, just being like, this is me and my life is actually awesome. So I was excited to do that, but I was also excited to write about things I love and go into detail and know that I don't have to care about teenagers not caring about this. So I'm like, we're gonna go to interior design and clothes and um travel and talk about trees and plants and just really put my life's interests and
It
joy.
was the
Yeah.
Maureen-averse.
I
Which
know.
I loved,
Um,
and you have such a wonderful Substack that Mom and I were looking at it, the other day because I'm like, "I need to figure out on my Christmas list,"
uh,
and the book really feels, as I was looking at the Substack, has so much of this point of view that is so infused with sort of design elements and style elements, and there's a real generosity too. It's like here's like all of the different, here's for the romantic, here's for the, in those beautiful, it's your latest one that's come out where it has all of the recs. It's like the
Mhm,
recs for all the different kinds of
mhm.
like the
My gift
mystery
guide.
book or the romance. And I thought, oh, it's just so wonderful to have such taste. You have such taste in so many elements, and it's helpful because then you link it all up. And as you know, I'm always like, Maureen, I ordered that trench coat you talked about.
I know, I follow so many like real Substack people who this is their whole job and they are so good at it. But I'm like a baby one where I feel like I'm doing it for my friends. I don't charge for my Substack because I'm like, this is truly not like any more of a service than other people are providing. But it's just if you're friends with me or if you're a reader of mine and you're like, oh, I also like shopping or having opinions on random things. It was a really fun space. It's a really fun space for me to play around in and just kind of like week by week, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna write about. This week, I'm like, oh, I did a lot of Black Friday shopping. Would people want to see what I tried on?
Oh,
Or,
no,
you know?
I think it's wonderful, and, the other thing, sort of getting back to Cassia's age, I love that she's 40 because everyone who has hit 40 or past 40 recognizes that milestone. It's a big one.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is unapologetic about the clothes she wears, that she loves wearing clothes that are daring, and it's what makes you feel good. And I love that she felt so good
Yeah.
and so wonderfully herself in these pretty daring outfits. I love
I
that.
I was like, what would I wear? But then if I was cooler and I had more money, and that is what I gave her. I'm like, you have the closet of my dreams, and then you have fancy aunt who gives you fancy things, which is also the dream.
I loved it
Yeah.
too. It was the closet of my
It
dreams.
was really fun to read, and it's so yeah, she's so grounded in being. Yeah, I'm 15 years past 40, so I was like, "Oh, grown-up romance, thank you."
Yeah.
And I loved that element of it, but it is interesting when you have this other piece where you're sort of that the Substack and then this really wonderful novel and how it feels like it's grounded in this really authentic self that makes it just for me. I don't really go on other influencer listens. I just go to
Yes,
yours.
I'm
I'm
your
like,
influencer.
"You're my influencer."
You influence me too all the time. I was just thinking I have to ask you about that hand lotion you have that I love so much. The one that you told me Eric bought you.
That's the one that Eric should be an influencer,
He should be
honestly.
the
He is just
influencer.
like he's such a super smeller, super taster of things. He goes in and he's just always oils and unguents.
Oh my God, I need to ask him. But also,
Yeah,
your home, like
thank
everything,
you.
like you create such a welcoming, um, beautiful space. So
Oh.
I'm like always influenced by you.
Oh, thanks.
Mm.
But I also just wanted to, in talking about all this, you had written such a beautiful after the fires. I
Oh,
encourage anyone listening just to visit that and read that beautiful, inspiring piece about the
yeah.
trees of Los Angeles and the resilience of Los Angeles, and that you had, as Mom noted, dedicated the book to the people of LA. It's like
Love.
LA in all of its style and fabulousness, but also in its resilience during a hard time. You really had my heart from the dedication.
Oh, yeah. I really, this book was written way before the fires, but then as I was going through the edits and everything, it was this whole year. And not only the fires just kickstarted everything, but like everything happening with the ice raids in LA and just feeling so like LA has really been through a hard year. And it's the book is really a love letter to the city, obviously. People use that phrase so much, but I'm like, this really is like for me,
Yeah.
and then I rewrote that fire scene because I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't have this because it might be a little too triggering. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep it because I think it's a little bit of an acknowledgement of what has happened in this small way. Obviously, it's not some huge fire that takes over the city in the book. Spoiler alert, there is a little fire plotline. Um, but yeah, I wanted to. to really acknowledge that because and I love LA so much and I felt such an intense love for it. And I wrote another YA book that was also my LA book, The Way You Make Me Feel, and that is my only book that has won an award. I love how my bio is like an award winning. I'm like, well, I won one award. And that award was for like fiction. It's this little one right here and it says it's for the most distinguished books for children or young adults that promotes an awareness of California and its people. And I'm really proud of that award.
That's
Oh,
a
you
good
should be.
award.
Because
That is a
I
good award.
published that book when Trump first became president, and there were all those, do you remember he was doing like the Muslim ban, which honestly
Yeah, of
feels
course.
so like mild now, which is nuts. But, I went to protests and I was just like really feeling this love for protective feeling for all the immigrants in LA. And so that was like my first homage to LA and all the immigrants because it's a very immigrant heavy story. But then this one to me, I'm like, okay, it's just about like being happy in the city and appreciating it and loving it. And just the people who come here to create lives and have dreams and are very successful in it and, how you can be happy as a result of all of that. So, it is very personal to me, and I still feel like choked up when I read my own dedication. I'm like, yes, I don't
Yeah.
know how many people will notice this, but this is for you.
But, I'm going to buy copies for my siblings, but they're all readers. But the only time they are activated about Los Angeles is when there's a disaster. So anytime there and there can be an earthquake that's 150
Oh my God, it's
miles
true.
away, and they'll write and say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And then the fires, and I understand that. But there's more to Los Angeles, but I think your point is that what I love the most is the way Angelenos rally around what happens in their city. All of the hardworking people who enrich through so many avenues really have made Los Angeles a great city. They're
Yeah.
not tangential to it.
Yeah, it's not
They
too
are
well,
it.
they are the city, and I think that LA is a hard city to love if you don't know it very well, and I get it. And I also think LA doesn't feel unified a lot of times. So you forget, and it's horrible that we had the fires and these ice raids that are still ongoing, but I do think like you kind of see the spirit of the city kind of come out because we're relaxed. We're kind of like not we're fake friendly and then we're not really that friendly to each other. But I think that when push comes to shove, we're like, excuse me? Like all of us will fight you.
That's true.
And it's like this is when I went to grad school in Boston, everybody I met there, nobody was from LA. I was like the only person in my program from California, let alone LA, and they would just the way they would talk about my city, and I'd be like, we don't even think about you. Like, we don't think about you. I'd be like, wow, people just love to hate LA. So I think there's even that unites us. But yeah, it was very heartwarming and very emotional for me to see like a reminder of what the city is and under horrible circumstances. But I do think I was like, right there you are. Like, you cannot break us down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Beautiful. Um, you had said, and then I was like, "Don't say that to Maureen because it's a spoiler." But it's really not a spoiler. But
No.
maybe you'll think it's a spoiler and then we'll take it out. But
All right.
go ahead and make your point,
Okay.
Mom.
Okay, but I was really chastised over this because Adele thinks I always give spoilers and I don't.
Mom is just spoiler alert.
All right, but
Okay.
this is what
She's a
I
little bit.
loved so much.
Okay.
So many things I loved about you. But here's what I loved too. Is there no villains?
Oh yeah. Mm-mm.
That every single person has her or his own story. and even the love interests, there are no
You're
villains.
really
And
rooting for everybody.
you root for everybody, and you can't decide who you're rooting for because you love them all. Even the characters, they're all flawed in some ways. Well, except for one, I guess. But but I can't
Who's
say who.
unflawed?
Yeah,
The bird?
but the
Betty?
what?
The
Betty?
bird.
Betty. Betty's one of my favorite characters. I loved Betty so much, but you have to read the book to find out who
Mhm.
Betty is, right?
Yes.
Not a
Okay.
spoiler.
Not a spoiler. But I really did, and every story touched me,
Oh.
and I rooted for everybody, and I don't think there are many books I've felt that way.
I'm so glad. I don't think that's a spoiler, because
Thank you.
I
All
don't,
right, we'll keep it.
I'm always, yeah, because I think that the worst love triangles are one where it's so obvious, where you're like, this is
Yeah,
a very lopsided love triangle. And I also don't like when the decision is made for the heroine because one person is actually bad, or
that's
like
Yeah.
that's
that's what I loved so
Yeah.
much.
right. And so that, I guess that's a spoiler. Neither of them are bad people, and they
No,
don't do anything horrible to her. And honestly, I wanted it to be very possible for her to end up with either of them, and for readers to want actually, like they kind of might think it's this person, but they're like, but I really wanted that dilemma. So I'm glad.
I was reading it so fast and I was so into the book that I accidentally went to the end
Oh no.
and I thought, don't look. Where normally I'm happy to look and see how it ends up.
Oh,
But no, because I could have seen it going either way. I really
I'm so
could.
glad.
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah.
loved
I had a
oh,
review already say, like, even though the love triangle is predictable, I'm like, what?
What?
So
No.
everybody feels differently with these things.
that's a bad comment, and I'll tell you why. It's not authentic because they each had such strong points and ways that it could have worked either way.
Yeah.
So I take great offense.
Maureen, when you named the mom Priscilla in Throwback, did you sort of have a feeling of what a Priscilla is?
I knew a couple of Priscillas growing up. That's why. And then they were very Priscilla-y.
This is a very Priscilla.
I think if you get the name Priscilla, you cannot be milquetoast. You know?
No. You have to have a take.
You have to have a take, and you have to be a little like, you have to be command some
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in it. Okay.
You're in it hard with that name.
Yes.
You have such a big year coming out with this book.
Yes.
There are so many cool things around. It was just announced that it is a Read with Jenna pick.
Yay.
Yay!
Yay.
Mhm.
And that means that you go, I'm guessing, on the Today Show.
Yes, I am scheduled for that. Mm-hmm.
That's
The
exciting.
the day the book comes out, yeah. And then I think I'm doing a second appearance. I think they do that. They have two appearances, so also happening later in the month. Yeah.
Is that because everybody reads it and then wants to come in with all the spoilers and you can talk about it more
Oh, maybe
fully?
that's what it is. Because I've watched a couple of the Read with Jenna author episodes, just so I'm like, what am I supposed to wear? Where am I going to be sitting? And I do think they sometimes have a book club come and talk. So, oh, maybe that's it. And I answer specific questions.
I would have a stylist.
Oh, I do have a stylist. I hired one because I got really overwhelmed by all the stuff that I was going to be doing for my husband's movie too. And so, I love clothes and I feel proficient in picking out clothes for myself, but
No, you always look great. You have
thank
such
you.
style. I'm here to vouch for all the times that I've been like, "Oh my God, Maureen, where'd you get that?" Write it down. Um,
Thank you so much. That is another highest compliment I could receive. But I felt like I needed like a professional's like, okay, like, and I didn't want to like overbuy because that's my tendency. I'm like, I need to buy something, and I probably have plenty of nice things in my closet. And then I also want to redo my closet. Our closets are so tiny and old, so I wanted her to come over, just clear out my whole. Oh my God, we got rid of so much stuff.
Oh, it's done. You did it.
She took out everything on a rolling rack, hung it, touched everything, rehung it, took out everything out of my drawers, folded each thing, and I was mortified. I was like, because she's so fancy, and I was like, what you have to know about me is I don't wash my clothes that often. Because I just don't. It's just something I find to be tedious, and I don't have Koreans don't get body odor. Okay, that's a fact. So
Yep.
I don't really have a body odor issue, but I do realize sometimes like that could probably washed. And so then I have a stranger, like the most fanciest woman that's ever been in my house, and she's like folding my pajamas for me, and I was like, oh my God. But it made me now everything is stuff I wear, so easy for me to access, and
How much did she take away?
two huge garbage bags of stuff that are for clothing swap, and then three huge garbage bags full of resale. So
Whoa.
I don't know about the resale. I'm being very optimistic, but I'm like, I can't just give away this. It's not even that nice, but I just feel attached to it. So she's like, okay. So she had me make two piles, a resale pile and a giveaway pile. And then she made me hang everything up and buy new hangers.
What are your new hangers? Are they velvet
Yeah,
or a
yeah, they're
special
velvet because my closets are so small, so they're velvet and thin.
look than
And then
velvety?
she made me hang up every single one of my pants, even the ones that I'm like, but these are just like cotton drawstring. She's like, well, if you don't hang them up, where do you keep them? And do they become wrinkled? And then you never want to wear them. And I said,
That's true. That is true.
I hang up all of my pants with the velvet hangers that have clips.
What was the question that she asked that would make you part with a thing? How long has it been since you've worn it? Or
No, she would literally just hold it up to me with a neutral face and be like, what about this?
No, so no
so she
smear.
shamed you.
And I'd be like, well, and so if I hemmed and hawed, she'd be like, put it on, and let's see. And then I would put it on and she'd be like, oh no. There's this one brown sweater, like a
That would be
Baba sweater, which
very
is a nice brand, and I got it on sample sale, but it's like this brown and it's really chunky and warm. And the second I put it on, she's like, oh my God, no. He said, okay.
Oh,
And I
Oh my
but then this sweater,
Take it off.
she was like, ooh, and she made me try this sweater on with like 4 different pants. She loved it. So she's just like knows immediately, like, no.
Wow.
so she'll choose what you wear?
Because you're on a circuit. You've got some things
Yes,
to be going to.
she's helping me put together outfits for my book tour, so I don't have to think about it, and she'll help me like pack for the tour. And book tours, we imagine they're so fun and fancy, but they're just like hanging out with people in a tiny bookstore. It's fine. But your photographs, I love dressing up, so I just want to make it fun. And then of course for the TV appearances, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be on TV, so I want to wear stuff that looks good on TV. And then, um, like for example, this week I'm going to like 2 different like parties for Chris's movie, and so she's helping me put together stuff for that. I went to her store yesterday. She has a store now. And so then she helped me pick out a couple things, and then I went to the store by myself and I took all these photos of things and I texted it to her last night. I was like, what about this stuff? She's like, oh, I like this, not that. Okay, well, let's see. And she's letting me borrow stuff from her closet. She is, I know, because she's like, I just wear a sweater and jeans every day now. 'Cause she has 2 young kids. Of course, she looks amazing in these sweaters and jeans.
You mentioned your husband's movie. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because
Yes,
people will be fascinated by
my
this talented couple.
he's like sleeping in right now because he was in Hong Kong earlier this week. But yeah, Chris, my husband, he co-directed K-pop Demon Hunters, which probably most people with children know very well at this point. So it's been a very nutty year for us because the movie ended up being like viral and explosive, and now it's been put on the award circuit for the Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Song, and it's also been nominated for several Grammys. Um, it's been a very exciting, overwhelming, like kind of unreal journey. I saw the movie and I knew, oh, this movie's going to be popular. That's how I felt like, wow, this is so fun. It's great. I'm so proud of him. But I don't think anybody could have anticipated, it's the highest streamed movie on Netflix. It's et cetera, et cetera. It broke all these Billboard chart records with their music. So it's a very unusual case of like nobody has really done this in this way before. So I feel like it's been a learning process for everybody involved, including the studios. And so, yes, I am along for the ride. I'm very excited for him. My husband's the most low maintenance man. It's very funny that he owns an Armani tuxedo now. I went to Italy with him and we just like, your finest tuxedo, sir, because it was like Netflix is paying for this. And I just wanted him to look so good and not have to, you know, worry about it. And so he's worn that tuxedo to like many events already. Um, but we bought like two different shirts, and then for the Oscars, he'll wear the bow tie. But so far, he's been wearing like just a regular tie for his events. Bought some nice shoes in Italy. This Italian man was like, you can buy your tux from Armani, but not shoes. They don't know the shoes like I do.
There's
Um,
a whole novel in this.
I know. It was so fun. It's very surreal. And so, yes, and then I have to, like, oh my God, I love clothes. So now I think that if I didn't love dressing up so much, it'd be like a little easier for me to have, I'm like, I don't know, just like a strapless gown that is flattering or whatever. But I'm like, no, I don't know when I'll go to the Oscars again. I'll never be this young again. So I'm like, I gotta pick something that is very exciting for me to wear. So we'll see. I don't know.
Just make sure you run it past Nikki Bell before.
Who's Nikki
Do
Bell?
you know who he is?
Mom
No.
loves Nikki Bell.
I love Nikki Bell. Although someone told us that now he's a little less caustic.
Oh, okay. Oh
People
no.
are sponsoring him, so he can but
Oh, got it.
he in a very flat voice, he just eviscerates dresses
I
for
think I
all the
saw him do one for the Governor's Award, which my husband went to. And because I was like, oh, this is related to the awards I watched. And he just says like, horrible,
Yes,
people,
that's
too
the one.
busy. Yeah, okay, I love it.
That's the way
Fabulous.
I attend the Ox.
It will be even harder for you to fit all 9 of your friends in your little handbag.
Also,
We are all just like it reminds me of Little Women when Meg goes off and does the fancy stuff.
I
Everybody's like, "Where are you going
I
this
pinch
week?"
my cheeks. I powder my chest. I'm very like, oh, I don't know.
It
Well,
does lead to another question that we both had. How do you make it work with the two of you having, big years?
yeah. Well, it used to be we were both freelance and it was a lot easier. So usually a lot of the childcare backup falls on me, which, is not uncommon. Even in a very equal household, it will fall on the woman. But I do just honestly have a very flexible schedule compared to his. And we put him in childcare after school because I'm like, I cannot have my day end at 2:30. That I'm like not even fully awake till 10. Um, and he's an only child, so I like to give him as many opportunities to like just always be with other kids because he's so happy. And then we've signed him up for a couple after school activities, like he had jujitsu and a piano class with my sister's fiance, because he is a music teacher. And then we've got so many kids in the neighborhood. We've got such a network. Oh, he does soccer, and my mom takes him to soccer. So we have a lot. Like my mom and dad live 10 minutes away. My sister lives 10 minutes away, and her fiance. And my next door neighbor is my best friend who loves him. Four people in the neighborhood have kids around Alexander's age, like that are literally like he's 5, and I am very comfortable having him go to the house by himself. I could just look out the window and see him go to that neighbor's house. So we have a lot of support compared to other American families, I think. Um, but it is sometimes hard because if there's a sick day or anything like that, I have to stop, and I have lost opportunities for work because that first year Alexander was in preschool when he was 2, it was just like, I'm sure you guys remember, it was just horrible. Like he was home all the time. I was sick, he was sick, Chris was sick. Um, so I just missed a bunch of deadlines. Just couldn't work. And I remember being so bitter that, oh, I thought I was working full time again, but I am not. I'm working part time. And
Mhm.
um, and I kind of had to, I do think that was a valid feeling, but I did have to just instead readjust because I'm not. It wasn't sustainable for me to just be resentful to Chris and to whoever the world. So I just decided, okay, like now my mindset is I am working part time and
Mhm.
to just not be stressed when I'm with my son that, oh my God, I should be working. It's like, this is my mom time and then I have my work time. But since then, he's been so, he's in kindergarten, longer days away. Um, he doesn't get as sick. Knock on wood. I'm like, shoot, it's like still very much sick season. But it's not like that first year. So I have been able to work almost like I used to, but what's gone is the all the endless like decompression time that I need to be in the right headspace to work. And that's been a huge adjustment where I'm like, I'm I have to actually work in the time I'm given. I can't just like say, well, I'm gonna go run errands now and work at like 8 p.m. because 8 p.m.
Yeah.
is now bedtime and I'm tired. So it is hard for me in that way, but I do feel like we only have one kid. I'm trying to remember that and be like, this is the only experience I'll have when he's little. Um, I don't I don't subscribe to like soak it in, mama, like because I feel like that is guilt tripping moms. But I'm like, I don't want to soak it in. I like working too, you know? But I do like to remind myself like this is also an important time with him. And when I am with him, just try to be with him and don't try to think about all the other work things. So I'm constantly thinking of like all the other things I can be doing. And then Chris and I have decided, like it's very natural to us that if he has a really busy week or he travels, he makes it up to me double time. So it's
That's
like,
lovely.
yeah, on the weekend, I'm like, bye, or the evenings I make plans or I go do all my workouts in the evenings and Chris will do every morning for like a week and every nighttime for like a week. He, unlike me, he keenly feels when he can't hang out with his son because he doesn't have a choice, you know? So he really like misses it and so he loves it. And he's very present. And so I'm lucky in that way. Yeah.
I also I also think that having, no one has more guilt than I think working mothers.
Hmm.
And the truth is that I think one of the best gifts you give your children is for them to see you working.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, to see your parents involved, passionate about their projects, working, it sets the example that your child will work for the rest of his life and find something you love to do. Because I think that that's great modeling for parents, to
Yeah.
to really show this is what I do and this is what I love to do.
Yeah, and I had that too growing up. My mom worked a lot. In an ideal world, she would have had a job she loved more and wouldn't have been as stressed because they were financially stressed um and my dad wasn't as helpful as my husband is to me, but that was the example I had. And I spoke at my mom's retirement because she retired in this like pretty high position at this bank as like executive position and they threw her a huge banquet and I spoke and I said like my memories of my mom are her working and I don't say that in a negative way. I just always had a role model that all women are in charge of their own lives. They are as equally valuable to the family as the dad. And, in my family, my dad was definitely like my mom was the boss. And so, and my mom was very smart and she helped us with homework and all that stuff. But so it just never occurred to me that my mom had this role, my dad had this role.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that was very valuable. And yeah, Chris and I love our jobs. That's the thing. Like we're willing to sacrifice time away from him because our jobs um, are important to us. Probably mine is more nourishing for me than Chris's is for him, if he's being honest, because Chris loves just puttering around the house and being outside and being with his kid as equally to, he wouldn't even say making movies is his passion. He likes
Mm.
storytelling and he just happens to be good at it. But for me, like writing and working and being creative is a passion. So I do feel like if I don't have that, I get very grumpy and like I don't
Yeah.
feel balanced. Yeah.
Yeah. There is something, I mean, you are the earner and the person working, and it definitely just becomes part of your identity as a daughter when your mom
Mhm.
is working. Um, Sort of the idea that your decisions count. That's what I would say. I was just talking to you this morning about was making a decision, and I thought, well, this is my decision.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I hadn't seen mom making decisions
Mhm.
all the time about everything,
Yeah.
if I would have questioned whether or not just decisions, aren't just opinions.
Yeah, but also that your opinion is also counts.
Yeah.
That's also important. And the other thing with my mom was she really had a lot of friends and loved to do a lot of things and had a lot of passions. And so like I think of that um when with my son. I'm like, yeah, he sees me having a very full life. And my parents now they're older, but like they still have a lot of things they like to do. And if they don't see us for a while, they're not like dying. Their their lives surely do not revolve around us. And I feel like that is such a nice thing for me as a daughter to see because it's less pressure on me. Obviously, I did feel pressure to provide a grandchild. But it was a very low, it wasn't a aggressive. And now, of course, my son is like my mom's like biggest joy, and I'm nothing. But I love that. I love that I don't feel like, uh, and maybe other kids wouldn't say burdened, but I think I might feel a little burdened if I felt like my parents' happiness and lives were still reliant on me. And it never was. They were always like, we're the adults with our lives, and then you guys are the kids,
Yeah.
you know?
It's an incredible gift that actually your parents have given you
Yeah.
because, feeling the pressure and the guilt and whatever to be all things to your aging parents
Mhm.
is hard when you're going through your immediate life.
Yeah. I see a lot of my friends going through that, and I feel like it's hard on top of everything else.
It must also be great as an LA parent to have grown up in LA and to be, I mean, the kids and I are always discovering everything together. We're like,
Mhm.
oh, we didn't know that was here. But you have such deep knowledge of Los Angeles, getting to show your son everything must be pretty cool.
I was just thinking about that when I dropped him off for a sleepover at my parents'. I was like, he is, this is the house that I grew up in since I was 7, and he sleeps in my old room that my sister and I shared for like 10 years. And we drive by my old high school every time we go to my parents' house. The mall here in Eagle Rock is a mall I used to hang out in middle school. The park that we have all of his birthday parties was the park I used to go to in elementary school for birthday
Ah,
parties. And, it feels like weirdly small town because, that's like not a thing you think of with big cities. But we stayed in our little neighborhood. And yeah, I do appreciate that because I feel like I feel rooted in this city. I feel so rooted. I'm not like an adventurous person that wants to go live anywhere else. I think it'd be fun to live somewhere for like a year, but I'd be like, I have to come back home. Like I feel like really like this is my home, and with all my extended family still lives here. None of us left. Like, we all kind of, like, went to college, did things, and we all, like, came back, and all of our kids are here. So Thanksgiving was all my cousins and all their kids, and we have been doing Thanksgiving together since before I was born. So it's just, I think I've realized I'm kind of like a townie for LA.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And you give that to us too, because I think you have in your books, in your Substack, and the things that make this giant city feel cozy is a lot of what you're bringing creatively to us all through these things that you're doing. So
Oh,
it's
thank
lovely to
you.
have that feeling of LA as a small town, especially to people who are very new here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was showing my friend from Sweden around yesterday. We met in Beverly Hills. Because she's a Substack friend. So I'm like, we gotta go shopping. We gotta go look at the Neiman Marcus Black Friday sale and just try on all the stuff we can't afford, even if it's 50% off. And I was walking around Beverly Hills and I was like, this is not at all my LA, but it kind of is my LA. And the fact that it is not my LA. I don't know how to explain it.
I think you did.
Yeah, my grandma used to love taking us to Beverly Hills. The grandma in the book is a little inspired by my grandma, who was very fancy. And she would take us, she would have all these like department store credit cards and was like majorly in debt, but that's a whole other story. She would always pick out a Christmas dress for us at like, Neiman's. Be like, okay, we're going down to the
Oh.
children's department, which was this beautiful space back in the day. And she'd let us pick out like a velvet dress with like a bow. Um, and it just reminded me. And my grandma did run into a car dealership in Beverly Hills, their window. My grandma lived in Echo Park on the border of Koreatown. So we go grocery shopping, go eat noodles. It was her favorite.
I've written down different foods to try from the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can give
The
you
theme book
specific.
club emerges.
Yeah.
I made a list of K-Town restaurants for my friend's friend who moved here from Seattle, and I need to get that from him because I just wrote it on a napkin, and it was one of the best lists I've ever made. So I got to get a photo and I'll send it to you guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
although you made a great list for Eric like 5 years ago when we
Oh, I
came,
did?
and
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
he
and
didn't share.
no, we went. Yeah,
No.
but it's true. He went with his friends. He was like, "This is not for my loser family. This is for my cool friends.
Yeah.
Well,
This
I
is for
don't,
me."
my Koreatown knowledge is old too. It's stuff my parents and my grandma would take me to. I'm sure there's way cooler new restaurants now, but I don't know them. So,
Well, we're not that cool, so
yeah,
we
okay.
Yeah,
would
what
Old
love
what
school
is
to.
this
recommendation.
bar? What is this
Yeah.
bar you talk of?
Yeah, bars.
You know.
We're like, what's the nightlife like? I'm like, I don't know. I know where to get like a soft serve ice cream or a
Well,
cream
thank
barbecue.
Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say thank you so much,
Yeah.
Maureen,
Thank
for
you
this
guys.
wonderful
I could talk to you
hour.
guys forever, and I'm lucky because I get to talk to you every week almost.
I know, that's the best part.
Yeah.
But
And I
this
was able to nudge in. Nudge her. I'm a Priscilla. I just go where.
Right. This space can hold me.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But thank you so
Thank
much.
thank you so much for listening to So Mom. Please be sure to find us wherever you get your pod on. For me, that's Apple, Spotify,
And YouTube.
and YouTube. Maureen, thank you.
Thank
You
you, Maureen.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.